Hi guys, it's Kessler, and today I want to talk about the Battlefield 1 beta. Now it's ended and we've had a couple of weeks to allow our thoughts to set in. I thought now would be a good time to talk about it. So, personally I thoroughly enjoyed the Battlefield 1 beta. I thought it was a great demonstration of what the game is going to be. And it gives me a lot of faith in the game that EA and DICE decided to give the last couple of days of the beta to stress testing it to make sure that it had a smooth launch. But there are still bugs in the beta, and I'm going to go over a few of the bugs that I noticed. So, I noticed that when buildings were falling down in the middle of the housing area of the Sinai Desert map, there were still gun emplacements hovering in the air. Now, granted, that's only a cosmetic thing, but I still found it somewhat annoying, and I don't know what you guys think, but I feel like they should collapse into the wreckage of the building when the buildings collapse. But I do think it's good that we're able to drive tanks through buildings and what have you, just allowing some destructibility to the map to allow gameplay to adapt and flow around the way the battle is panning out. Something else I noticed was hit registration. Hit registration seemed slightly off, and I don't know if maybe that's just me having a bad aim, but I think, particularly when I was using sniper rifles, the hit registration seemed off. Something else that was in the beta that I don't think's meant to be there is bayonet charging with pistols. Some of you guys might have been in the scenario when you were bayonet charged with a pistol. This is obviously something that's not meant to happen, but it is rather comic. What would be happening is people would be out with their rifle or their submachine gun. They'd initiate the bayonet charge animation, but as they initiated that, they'd quickly withdraw their pistol, and it would give the effect that you're charging with your pistol and doing the bayonet charge animation with your pistol. And although that can be entertaining and humorous, I would like to see it removed from the game simply because I don't feel it's meant to be there. Another thing I noticed in the map was the aiming of the behemoth, the armoured train. It seemed okay, but it still seemed like it needed to be tweaked slightly. But I feel like there needs to be some sort of tutorial for the armoured train. Some sort of pop-up on the screen that allows you to have some information about how to do certain things. For example, many people don't know that you can fire an artillery piece from the train. You have an artillery cannon on your train, and if you're the driver, you can use that as your weapon. But that isn't something I realised until the last couple of days in the beta, when I accidentally hit some buttons. There was a lot of talk around Battlefield 1 in regards to the powerfulness of the vehicles. Personally, I don't think this is a problem. I think the vehicles are relatively balanced for what they were at the time. You know, tanks back in World War I, they'd just been invented, and they were either bristling with machine guns or effectively had artillery pieces on a horizontal axis. So they were meant to be powerful, and I think that's relatively well represented in the game. But I also like how in vehicles like the tanks and the planes, you have the ability to choose your loadout. You can put different weapons on the vehicle. And maybe that was in other Battlefield games, but it's not something I personally noticed. So that's all I've got to say on this topic, guys. Leave a like, comment and subscribe down below. I'll be bringing out a video in the next few days about what I thought of the Sinai Desert map. I've been Kessler, and I'll see you next time.